So, you want to learn Mandarin Chinese, right? But honestly, where do you even start? It's a massive language. Well, today, we're unpacking exactly that. We're going to map out the journey from the literal first sounds you'd make in a 7th grade classroom all the way up to absolute professional fluency. And we're doing it using the official global standard, the HSK pathway.
Here's our game plan for this explainer. 1. The HSK pathway explained. 2. The 9 levels of proficiency. 3. Grade 7 foundations. 4. Unit 1, sounds and tones. 5. Unit 2, everyday communication. And 6. How your journey begins right now. Let's get right into it.
Section 1. The HSK pathway explained. We need to start by looking at the ultimate destination for language learners.
Okay, so what is the HSK 3.0? Basically, think of it as the ultimate global yardstick for Mandarin. It's a national standardized test, sure, but it is not just about memorizing random vocabulary lists from some dusty textbook. It specifically evaluates how well you, as a second language learner, can actually communicate in the real world across daily life, academic study, and professional environments. It's incredibly practical.
Section 2, 9 levels of proficiency. To make this whole journey doable, the HSK 3.0 framework is essentially built like a giant staircase with 9 very distinct steps. These 9 levels naturally cluster into 3 main tiers. Levels 1 through 3, that's your basic life and study stuff, basically survival Chinese. Then, levels 4 through 6 unlock fluid, professional communication. You're comfortable, you're working in the language. And finally, levels 7 through 9. This is the deep end, taking you into highly academic and specialized professional realms. So it is a very clear, logical progression. The contrast between the bottom and the top of the staircase is just wild. Look at level 1, simple communication in daily life. You're asking where the bathroom is, right? But skip up to level 9 and you are expected to handle precise, in-depth communication in complex professional and academic scenes. We're talking debating academic theories or analyzing intricate grammar choices. It is a massive leap. But hey, it's entirely doable if you just take it step by step.
Section 3. Grade 7, Foundations. All right, we've seen the absolute peak of the mountain at level 9. Now, let's bring it all the way back down to base camp. Where does a 7th grade student actually start?
For a 7th grade learner, this massive 9-level journey kicks off with just 2 foundational starter units. Nobody expects you to jump into deep academic discussions on day 1. Instead, it is all about building a rock-solid foundation, giving you the exact tools you need to simply exist and communicate in a Chinese language classroom. And that brings us to a huge misconception check. How do pronunciation and tone change meaning in Mandarin Chinese? See, in English, we use tone to show emotion, right? We raise your voice to sound surprised. But in Mandarin, the tone literally changes the definition of the word. For example, if you say the sound ma with a high flat tone, ma, that means mother. But if you dip your voice and rise back up, ma, suddenly you're talking about a horse. Big difference, right? Proving that how you sound is just as important as what you say is your very first hurdle.
Section 4, Unit 1, Sounds and Tones. Let's see how those first language tools are actually built and put into practice. By the end of this first unit, you've got some incredibly practical skills. You aren't just making noises anymore. You're recognizing pinyin, which, if you don't know, is the system used to write out Chinese sounds using the English alphabet. You're also learning to greet your classmates, introduce yourself with simple sentences, and directly compare Mandarin sounds with English sounds to nip any bad habits in the bud. The core focus here is super targeted. Pronunciation, tones, basic classroom directions, greetings, and names. It might sound a bit basic, but trust me, locking in these core pronunciation habits right out of the gate is absolutely crucial. It is exactly what stops you from making massive communication errors later on when the grammar and vocabulary get way more complex. Section 5, Unit 2, Everyday Communication. You've conquered the sounds, you can say hello. Now, we tackle real life. This prompts our next essential question, pushing you right out of your comfort zone. How can a beginning learner handle everyday communication needs? You've got the phonetic tools from Unit 1, so Unit 2 asks you to actually apply them. You're moving from just surviving in the classroom to interacting with the real world around you.
There is a really clear leap in content here. We go from Unit 1, which is super restricted to just greetings and sounds, and we burst right into Unit 2. Suddenly you're talking about your family, your school schedule, numbers, dates, your daily routines, and of course, food. You are taking those basic pinyin and tone skills and throwing them into a huge variety of everyday interpersonal exchanges.
And how do you pull that off? Through a very specific 3-step progression. Step 1, asking and answering simple questions. Step 2, interpreting short dialogues. Let's pause here for a second because this is where a great grammar evidence discussion comes in, seeing how grammar choices actually affect meaning. Let's look at a worked practice item. Say a student wants to say, "I am very good," and they say, "Well, sure, hun, how?" Well, if we look at evidence from native short dialogues, we see that the verb she, meaning to be, just isn't used with adjectives like that in Mandarin. So you can use that conversational evidence to justify correcting the mistake to simply "wo hun hao," linking the pronoun and adjective directly. Pretty cool, right? Then you hit step 3, taking all that grammar and vocab evidence and creating a short presentational script of your own. It's this perfect loop of input, analysis, and output.
Section 6. Your journey begins now. We have covered a serious amount of ground today, from the 7th grade classroom to level 9 mastery. Let's tie it all together.
The absolute biggest takeaway from this explainer is that nothing you learn in these early stages exists in a vacuum. Every single greeting, every single tone, every little grammar structure you pull from a short dialogue, it is all directly wired to that ultimate HSK fluency. Mastering pinyin and tones today is literally step 1 toward that precise, in-depth communication tomorrow.
So, with the entire HSK pathway laid out in front of you, showing you exactly how basic sounds evolve into profound fluency, I have a final exit question for you. What will your first Chinese sentence be? Think about how you want to introduce yourself to this incredible language. Remember, every single expert out there was once just a beginner, trying to master their very first tone.